Welcome back to Inside the Ropes Review for the week of November 3rd, where we sift through the week's best stories from glass to green. I'm your host, Brian Bailie, and today's lineup blends history, ritual, prep, and performance. On the card for this week, number 1, From Reuse to Revelation, The Rise of the Finished Whiskey. 2, The Edge, Smoke and Mirrors. 3, Train to the Event, Not Your Ego. 4, from Golf Life magazine, The Excellence of Wilson Ritchie, The Whiskey Jar. Let's tee it up. From barrel economics to liquid art, let's start where the whiskey learned to sing in a second cask. Where it started wasn't romance, it was a necessity. In the 18th and 19th centuries, distillers reused rum, sherry, and wine casks because they were available and affordable. Scotland learned early, especially Glenmorangie, foreshadowing the truth seasoned woods bring depth. By the late 80s and 90s, finishing turned from storage into strategy. A primary maturation, often ex-bourbon barrels, then 6 to 24 months in port, Madura, sherry, nuanced by design. It rescued lean stock, created distinction, and gave distillers a fresh story to tell. In the U.S., strict bourbon rules slowed the trend, until Angel's Envy made port-finished bourbon the open door to elegance. From there, an explosion. We had wine finishes, that's right, port, Cabernet, Madura. You had spirited finishes such as rum, cognac, and tequila. Beer and stout collabs such as Jameson and Bardstown. Exotic woods other than just white oak. So we had Japanese oak, French oak, and of course chestnut. And then there was layered and triple finishes that Compass Box is known for. The new frontier is precision, micro-aging, climate control, finishing rooms, custom seasoning. But there is a line. Enhance, do not disguise. Let the basic spirit speak. Let the finish harmonize. Diving into Pour Decisions database, here's a few whiskey that Golf Cast Nation loves. Penelope Toasted Series. Vanilla, toffee, warmth, deep toast. Nulu Double Oak, one of my favorites. Dessert level depth of sweet oak and dark caramel. Angel's Envy, the GOAT. Bardstown collaborations, creative, spirit to spirits, tons of conversation. Woodford Double Oak, a masterclass in texture and tone. What began as a barrel economics became a creative canvas, finishing in jazz. The first cast sets the melody, the second brings the soul. From first cast to second movement, time to flip the page. Golf Cast Life magazine is your quarterly guide to golf, whiskey, cigars, travel, and the rituals that slow life down. Members of golfcast.com get full digital access plus narrated audio editions, perfect for the commute and range session. Golf Cast Life, spark, sip, swing, and savor. Stories poured, pages turn, let's step into the smoke. From finished whiskey to finished rituals, smoke has a memory. Smoke and Mirrors, The Edge. There's something magical about the way smoke dances on a cool October night. Maybe it's the firelight, maybe it's the bourbon, or maybe it's the ghosts of old cigar rollers keeping us company. If the cigar factories in Old Havana, superstition was part of the process. Rollers were known to whisper blessings into their leaves as they wrapped each cigar. A quiet word for the tobacco, for luck, for balance, for flavor. Some swore the best cigars drew smoother because of it. Today, we still repeat the motions, the cut, the toast, the slow, reverent draw. Whether we realize it or not, it's our own small ceremony. The rhythm of cigar life mirrors golf itself, patience, ritualistic, and full of superstitions. Tap the putter twice, line up your shot, never talk during the swing. Maybe that's why golf and cigars pair so naturally. Both are ancient games of focus, timing, and faith in forces we can't see. So tonight, light one up. Watch the smoke curl and twist through the air. Is it just physics or something older? A quiet whisper from the Toreador that rolled it a century ago? Whatever you believe, raise your glass, take a slow draw, and smile. Because not all spirits are poured, some are smoked. To the mysteries that flavor our rituals, and the spirits who make sure the draw stays even. Ritual honored, let's talk community. Join the Golf Cask Whiskey Syndicate, our members-only crew of blind tasters, whiskey trail hunters, and bonus magazine editions, and live bottle share sessions. Get invites, perks, and pours at golfcast.com, where every pour tells a story, and every story finds its people. Membership secured, back to work that wins on Sunday. If you want scoreboard results, you need scoreboard practice. Train to the event, not your ego. Every golfer wants to be ready. The problem is most define readiness by repetition instead of relevance. They grind on the same shots at the same range under the same conditions, then act surprised when tournament golf feels a little bit different. They train for comfort, not competition. Practice versus preparation. A practice session polishes the swing. Preparation sharpens the mind. When you practice, you chase feel. When you prepare, you chase function. The difference is massive. Most golfers treat every session like a laboratory for swing mechanics instead of rehearsal for execution. They'd rather film their backswing than simulate a round. Here's the reality. Tournaments don't reward those who have the prettiest move. They reward those who's most comfortable producing results when the situation changes. That's why the best players train for context, not for confidence. They start by asking the most important question in golf prep. What is the next course going to ask of me? Make your practice for that course. Let's say your upcoming event is a long layout, 7,100 plus yards, with firm fairways and big greens. The temptation is to pound drivers all week, trying to add 5 yards. But that's not where your scoring is going to happen. If you can't reach half of the par 4s in regulation, the tournament will be decided inside of 40 yards. So you should be living on the short game area, rehearsing low bump and runs, 30-yard pitches, and recovery shots from the fairway and first cut of rough. That's your reality. Flip it around. If your next event is a tight tree-lined course, driver might not only come out once or twice during the round. Suddenly, a 3-wood or hybrid becomes your workhorse. You should be practicing position tee shots, shaping both directions, and hitting targets under pressure. Preparation is all about building reps that match reality. Otherwise, you're preparing for a fantasy round that only exists on the range. Stop feeding the ego. Golfers love to practice what they're good at. It's human nature. Nothing feels better than flushing a full 7-iron or pounding driver after driver down an imaginary fairway. But comfort can be the most seductive trap in sports. You can't prepare honestly. If you only practice what makes you look good, it's a hard game. That's the ego talking, the same ego that insists you can fly a 3-wood over water when every stat says lay up. The ego wants to prove something, the competitor wants to perform something. Training for an event means surrendering style for substance. It means grinding the ugly shots until they aren't ugly anymore. It means owning the misses you're most likely to see. The best players don't avoid their weaknesses, they neutralize them before the course exposes them. That's real preparation. Conditions matter. Train to them. Every course is shaped by its environment. Grass type, humidity, altitude, wind directions, all influence performance. Yet most players ignore them. If the tournament is on Bermuda greens, learn how the grain can pull your putt offline. If the rough is thick and wet, learn how your wedges launch from these lies. If the greens run a 12, stop practicing on your home course's slow, shaggy surfaces. Preparation is all about aligning your senses to what you'll face. The best feeling in competition is familiarity. Walking onto a foreign turf that already feels like home. The importance to plan, but don't script. Preparation doesn't mean rigidity. It means readiness. You want to plan detailed enough to give you direction, but flexible enough to handle the chaos. Weather changes, pin position surprising you. Your swing might feel a little different from day 1 to day 2. A smart plan bends. It never breaks. Think of it as a jazz song. The melody is fixed, but you have room to improvise the notes to fit the course. Golf is no different. Train your body to execute, your mind to adjust, and your ego to stay quiet when adaptation is required. The flamingo reminder. Every time you prepare for an event, check yourself against the flamingo rule. Don't bury your head in the sand. Stand tall on one leg and face the truth. If you know bunker play costs you strokes, spend the week in the sand. If long putts wrecked your pace control, stop avoiding the practice green. If your mental routine falls apart under pressure, simulate it. Heart rate up, hand shaking, still commit to every shot. Standing tall means acknowledging where the course can expose you and closing that gap before it counts. Training the mind. The most overlooked part of event prep isn't physical, it's mental. Learning to rehearse the flow of the round. Pre-shot routine. Target visualization. Reaction to outcomes. When you can recreate pressure on purpose, it prevents the fight and flight on the course. It makes you better. A calm mind comes from repetition with intent. Don't just hit shots. Play holes in practice. Set consequences. Keep score. Add meaning. That's what separates the player who practices for the one who prepares. The final pour. When it comes to tournament prep, the message is simple. Train for what's coming, not what's comfortable. Tailor every session for the event in front of you. Build familiarity with the course, the grass, the conditions, and the shots you'll actually face. Leave the ego on the range where it belongs. Because golf doesn't reward style points, it rewards readiness. And when the course becomes your opponent, readiness is your sharpest weapon. Preparation packed, one more pour, this one's personal. Plot your next whiskey and golf trip with golfcast.com's interactive map. Discover distilleries, courses, and the perfect 19th hole destinations. Curated by the Syndicate and Golfcast Nation. Fire it up at golfcast.com and build your next itinerary. Destination set? Now a story from home. From the community to its living room, the Whiskey Jar. The Excellence of Wilson Ritchie by Chris Bono. If you've ever been to Charlottesville, Virginia, chances are you've dined at one of Wilson Ritchie's establishments. Whether it's the comfortable southern food of the Whiskey Jar, French cuisine at Dooner's, Southern American cuisine at the Bobadero, or the sandwich and soup combo at Revolutionary Soup, Wilson Ritchie was always striving to provide excellent food and drink to the people of Charlottesville. When I joined the Whiskey Jar family in 2022, I had the honor and privilege of working with Wilson, a smart and charismatic restaurateur. The first few months were an exciting adventure into the marvelous world of whiskey, and with Wilson right beside me, I knew it was going to be a glorious journey. Wilson's astounding knowledge of whiskey led to the purchase of 9 private barrels, for which we still have on our shelves today. Although I was novice in the whiskey game, Wilson provided wisdom and guidance, starting me off with the classics like Elijah Craig, Four Roses, and Old Forester. Prior to joining the Whiskey Jar, my preference spirit was rum. The turning point for me was when I found the one whiskey, Green Spot, that made me think, I can drink this. Several days later, Wilson stopped by the Whiskey Jar, and I was proud to tell him I found the one. He gave me a bear hug and welcomed me to the dark side, explaining to me that I had finally gotten my adult palate. Wilson Ritchie had the personality that was larger than life. He strived to find excellence in everyone he interacted with. He was your mentor that would walk alongside you, sharing his knowledge from life experiences to help you on your own journey. In my case, my journey led to developing a fondness for whiskey. After his tragic passing in 2023, the entire Charlottesville community felt his loss. I found myself without my mentor and friend. However, I knew the journey had to continue. You can still feel Wilson's presence in the Whiskey Jar. Every time I hit the ABC lottery for a unicorn bottle, I feel his presence. Like a loving hand on my shoulder telling me, keep building your collection. I'm proud of you. This is how I believe Wilson figured out how to bring the excellence out of me. He taught me to value great bottles while spending time with interesting people. He gave me the ambition to build a collection for all whiskey heads to marvel at and to enjoy. I strive daily to uphold his legacy. His love for good bottles of whiskey has become my love. For the brief time I had the pleasure of knowing Wilson Ritchie, his impact on my life will be with me forever. He put the drive into me to strive for excellence and settle for nothing less. His love for people, great music, and fantastic whiskey is what makes the Whiskey Jar in Charlottesville's living room where everyone is welcome. Legacy poured, excellence preserved. Join us in the 19th hole, our digital clubhouse, for post-round reflections, bottle picks, community stories. Subscribe to the Golfcast newsletter as well for weekly features and invites. Tap in to golfcast.com. Clubhouse lights dim. Time to close the loop. This was the Inside the Ropes review for November 3rd. From cask finishes to course prep to remembrance, the best stories live between ritual and results. Until next time, spark, sip, swing at golfcast.com. This is the founder, Brian Bailie. Here's my friend.